Okay, Holly, this story for me starts with you. As mom, you're kind of needed in this whole scenario, and a rock star, I can already tell because of the way obviously Nate has turned out. You just have to be one of those cheerleader moms, and you think that your child can do anything. Just tell us the story.
Well, I'm the mom of 5 incredible children.
Wow.
So when Nate was born, I expected the delivery to be like all the other children. But when Nate was born 19 years ago, my husband noticed immediately that he looked as though he had Down syndrome.
Okay.
So he came over to my bedside and he whispered, "Excuse me, Holly, I think our son has Down syndrome." To that, I didn't know what that meant at the time. But what happened after changed the trajectory of my life. The doctors and the nurses all told me that they were sorry. When I held Nate, I knew there was nothing to be sorry about. So I decided right then and there, and I actually whispered in his ear, "I will never let anyone say sorry about you again."
Absolutely, I love that. And then so we don't want to leave this guy out. I mean, it always helps to have a TikTok star in your pocket, right? So you've got Officer Daniels, and tell me about this relationship. Let's make that jump. Yes. We're not skipping over you because you're the star. We just got to put the pieces together.
Right. Well, we've been blessed. In Nate's 19 years, he's been a model. He was the lead in LA Fashion Week last year.
Excuse me.
I'm not kidding. He actually was gifted Prince's jacket that he wore in LA Fashion Week.
Oh, wow.
And so during this, Nate started becoming TikTok famous, and that was his goal, to be TikTok famous. So about almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, Nate was getting quite a big following. Right. But he caught the attention of this pretty famous comedian. He started talking to Nate on the daily, and
yeah.
So I have a sister with Down syndrome, and she's about 7 years older than I am. And when I started social media, I would just kind of gravitate towards these accounts that were similar to my sister. Sure. And I'd shown off my sister a few times, and there was a lot of love, but there was a lot of hate in the comments. And so I realized that, like anything else that you post on the internet, that you're going to have people saying silly things, but there's a lot of ignorant things and people that need to be educated. So I definitely wanted to use my reach to educate and be a resource and just an advocate for Down syndrome. And so Nate popped on my feed a couple years ago on TikTok, and I'm like, that kid is funny.
Did you know he felt that way?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. All right. Sorry, just wanted to make sure. Okay.
And you could just tell it was all natural. He wasn't trying. It was just his. It's just his personality. He's just got a funny personality. And I'm like, I need to be this guy's friend. So.
So were you doing that stuff that they're doing now, the dual window, before it was really? What do they call that now? Duet. You were doing the duets before they were really cool, I guess.
It was really cute. His brilliance just came out. Like, he would send me things that I never would think of, and the videos, of course, went viral because they were hilarious.
So a cool connection that I didn't even know was that Nate's dad is a retired lieutenant from the Chicago PD. So I'm like, there's a lot of nexus for the law enforcement community between us, and I'm like, let's do something law enforcement related. So something that's pretty common is calling people a badge bunny when they have a real liking to trying to date a cop.
Okay.
We had Nate pretend that he was wanting to use my uniform so he could get badge bunnies.
I actually need to right now.
Hey, I don't know that you want all that trouble.
I know.
It can be a lot.
That's what I was just trying to school him on. Just be friends with a lot of them.
I mean, she better be extra special, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Indeed. Don't settle for one, though. Don't.
Yeah.
Right.
And that video was the first taste our audience got of both of us, and
awesome.
They loved it. And so I'm like, all right, we got to meet. We got something good going. And then when we all met in person in Chicago when Nate graduated in June.
Yeah, you got to tell that story.
So yeah, I actually surprised him. They invited me to his graduation. I said,
no, I didn't. I didn't invite you.
You did?
No, I didn't.
I swear to God.
No, I didn't. And unbeknownst to me, completely unbeknownst to me, we were outside taking graduation pictures. It was COVID. We couldn't have the family at the graduation. So I'm out there, and it's funny because I was there standing with Nate getting pictures. I feel someone tap my shoulder, and then the man said cheese or something like that. Happy graduation. And then I finally turned to see, and it took me, a couple seconds to digest that it's really him flying from Colorado to Chicago, and I start screaming like a lunatic.
That's
because she is.
Because I am. totally okay with that. Life is real, right?
Yeah.
And I just kept screaming, and poor Officer Daniels is like, "You can hug me," and I'm like, "Can I?"
That's awesome.
And then you just jumped in his arms, and I kept screaming, "OMG,
Yay.
OMG."